Malice is a tier 1 Yu-Gi-Oh deck. Today, big dog, I'm going to be breaking down why Malice is in the prime position to be one of the most powerful decks in the format and everything you need to know about the deck. Let's go ahead and jump on in. What's going on with y'all, big dog? And it is an amazing day for Yu-Gi-Oh! I hope that's your day. Phenomenal. But if it isn't, don't let what happened at the beginning of your day ruin the rest of your day. Today, big dog, like I said before, we are going to be going over a Malice deck profile, and I genuinely think that this is a tier 1 Yu-Gi-Oh deck. And of course, not only will I be breaking down why I think this is a tier 1 deck through the profile, I'll also be showing you some combos to debunk a couple of weaknesses that a lot of people think that this deck may have. And of course, big dog, as a special thanks to all of my Patreon members, I'm actually going to be giving you guys a little bit more extra. You're going to get some behind the scenes cuts in me using or playing test hands of this Yu-Gi-Oh deck. I actually did not like Malice at first because of the waifu status that it has. But one thing that I love about this deck, if you guys were wondering if you should pick it up, it is a very intricate mid-range style Yu-Gi-Oh deck. I wouldn't say that this deck is a combo style Yu-Gi-Oh deck, though it does have some pretty big combos. You actually build your boards depending on the interaction that you want to have with your opponent, which I thought was really fun, and that's why I really like this deck. Also, with cards like Maxi completely out in the TCG, this deck is a lot stronger than its OCG counterpart. There's one last thing that I have to talk to you guys about before I quit my yapping and get into the cracking of this deck, and it is this particular Millennium mat. It's crazy. I know you guys have been talking about it. I finally have it on the website for sale. And even better, we have a limited edition run with gold stitching. Once those sell out, it's completely done, finished, finito, no more. We also have a regular based cloth version of the mat, and we even have rubber sides. So go ahead and pick up your mats, pre-order them today. It's going to be crazy. And also make sure to get your Raven wing sleeves and other accessories from TheCaliEffect.com. The Malice archetypes theme is two different things mixed into one. There is one, the Alice in Wonderland story that you guys probably have heard from Disney, but kind of has a darker past if you go into the real story, and then chess. You're gonna send your Malice monsters to Wonderland, which is the banish zone, and then they'll come back to your side of the field, and depending on where you place them, your Malice Link monsters, your queens, can gain some effects. I actually like how Konami has built that inside of the deck, and to start it off, there's 3 copies of Malice Pawn Dormouse. That's what the P stands for, and this card is a mainstay inside of the deck. Again, all of the Malice monsters have an effect that when they're banished, you can pay life points to be able to summon them to your side of the field. When they are banished, you just pay 300. This particular one allows you to banish a Malice monster from your deck, and then all your Malice monsters for the duration of the turn gain 600 attack. Really important for being able to get over certain situations where your opponent has a monster that you can't get over, because the strongest Malice inside of this deck is 2300. So making them 2900 is pretty good. The next thing that it does is that it makes your Malice Link monsters unable to be destroyed by card effects, which is really, really good. Next is 3 copies of Malice Pawn White Rabbit. This card allows you to be able to set a trap card when it is summoned, a Malice card in to be specific, and it also prevents you from taking damage with your Malice monsters while it points to one of them. I think 3 and 3 is mandatory for the Malice strategy right now. These are the only Malice monsters that can start our combo that we have inside of our main deck. So unfortunately, if you guys can't afford Malice Pawn White Rabbits and 3 copies of them, your deck will struggle. Lastly, I only play 1 copy of Malice Pawn Chessy Cat. Now, this card is the worst of the Malice monsters because it doesn't necessarily do anything to further your combo. It allows you to banish a Malice card from your hand to draw 2 cards, which could come up if you have some of the other Malice monsters in your hand. But overall, since we have a maximum of only 9 Malice monsters that we can play inside of our deck, I found it to be really bricky. And more importantly, this card by itself does not start the combo, but it is a necessary piece to be able to continue on your combo. So you'll see a lot of players play 2. I decided to drop it to 1 and test out that because I don't think it's that powerful of a card on its standalone, but when you start going through your combo, you really do need it. And then next is the Field Spell 3 copies of Malice in Underground. I actually do complement that with the 1 copy of Terraforming. Some people opt not to play Terraforming at all, and it's because Malice Queen Ransom can search your Underground, which I don't think is a bad idea. But in Yu-Gi-Oh, as you guys already know, oftentimes the plan never goes out how you want it to be. And also, if my beginning plays of my Malice gets negated, I'll use Underground to be able to recover. Now, another crazy thing about Malice is that it is built upon its trap cards. Now, you chess players might have to help me out because the only thing I know is Rook, Bishop, Knight, Queen. I'm pretty sure I'm missing somebody here. King, obviously. So I don't know what the C stands for other than cooking your opponent. There's one TB11, one GWC06, and one MTP07. Is it chessboard? I don't really know, but one thing I will tell you about the lore of this is that the TB11, GW06, and the MTP07, I believe it's a reference to the Alice in Wonderland chapters, which is kind of cool. These cards are really, really important for the deck, but you don't need more than one of any card. Basically, they have an effect to allow you to activate them the turn that they are set by banishing a Malice monster. It allows you to be able to play around targeting effects like Effect Veiler and Infinite Impermanence with ease. And TB11 allows you to special summon from the deck. GW06 allows you to be able to special summon a banished or graveyarded Malice. And MTP07 allows you to be able to search, but can also banish a card on the field. All three of these cards are really, really important. And that's up for all of the new cards, the Malice cards that we play inside of the deck. Everything else is cards that you guys should pretty much know. I play one copy of Code of Soul. If you guys are a Solomon Great player, you understand that not only is this card an extender, it allows us to link summon on our opponent's turn, and one Dotscaper, a card that when sent to the graveyard or banished allows you to special summon itself. There's 3 copies of Signet Mining because this is a Cyber's deck, and using it to be able to get into your Malice monsters, but also Dotscaper and Code of Soul is really important. Keep in mind, I'll explain why these cards are in this deck when it starts to come to the combo. It gets really, really nasty. Then 1 copy of Gold Sarcophagus because all of your Malice monsters, when banished, allow you to be able to special summon themselves, and then also Dotscaper, when banished, also special summons itself too. Now, some of you guys may be wondering, why am I not playing Allure of Darkness? This card is crazy good, and it also just got a reprint inside of Quarter Century Bonanza as all different type of rarities, as well as it works in combination with your Malice cards really well. Well, the answer is simple. I don't think that I play enough Malice monsters to justify Allure of Darkness. Also, it's best when my Malice monsters banish themselves to be able to gain their effects to get themselves back to the field. Is only playing 2 copies of Chessy Cat a mistake? I think it could be, because that Allure of Darkness does in theory allow me to get deeper into my play, but I think one of the biggest things about this deck is that time will tell. I don't want you guys to look at my deck profile and think that it's the absolute Bible for Malice. The strategy just came out. But I do want to help you guys that are wondering what would a competitive Malice deck look like and what would be the theory behind it. Next, for the disruption cards, and boy, this deck can play a lot of them. For my disruption cards, there are 3 of the Bystials. Now, some of you guys may be asking, why am I playing the Bystials in a format where the Bystials may not be as powerful? The reason is because even if my opponent hand traps me on my opening play, the Bystials allow me to still go full combo with this deck, and I'll explain it to you and show it to you in the combo sequence. The reason why I think that the Bystials are just way too good to pass up in this deck, they also allow you to be able to trigger your Malice Link monsters to summon themselves and gain their effects, which is really, really important. From there, there's 3 copies of Droll and Lockbird. One of this deck's biggest weaknesses is Mulchummy Frowilus. I think that Droll is really powerful inside of this format because of that card, but also is really good just overall because there are so many decks that need to search. 3 copies of Ghost Mourner and Moonlit Chill because I do value effect negation. 3 copies of Infinite Impermanence to follow that exact same theme. 3 copies of Effect Veiler giving me 9 ways to negate effect monsters. Going against Ryzeal, you guys should probably already know that negating your opponent's monster effects is critical. So I decided to maximize my talent by doing that. 3 copies of Ash Blossom and Joyous Spring. Ash Blossom and Joyous Spring. And then lastly is 1 copy of Call by the Grave and 3 copies of a card I have to apologize to you guys. So I was actually really stuck between playing this card and Dominus Impulse. I think that Dominus Impulse is a crazy good card. And seeing that the Malice monsters and most of the other cards that I play inside of my deck and extra deck don't get in the way of Dominus Impulse, until I started to realize something really important. Unfortunately for me, one of the best cards to be able to stop Mulcharmy just so happens to be a win. I could overlook that. Playing Droll and Dominus Impulse isn't like out of the question, it's not terrible. But then you start to look at Ghost Mourner and you're like, whoa, now that's 2 win monsters. Now playing 3 copies of Impulse alongside of Drolls in Mourners may not be the worst thing in the world. It just means that almost half of my hand traps are unplayable alongside of Impulse. And then I also got to Effect Veiler. 9 of my 15 hand traps are unplayable alongside of Impulse. And I know some of you guys may say that you can activate Impulse first and then these cards second, but you always don't get that ability to be able to do so. Right now, I'm taking it incredibly cautious, and I may switch up my hand trap lineup to be able to accommodate Impulse, but right now I'm just running 3 copies of Crossout Designator. Crossout Designator actually can banish a Malice monster to be able to make your Malice Queen Heart's Cryptor live, which I think is kind of cool. So that's the reason why I went to Crossout Designator, and it allows me to have coverage against some of the most popular hand traps. But now moving on from that, we're gonna get into the extra deck. I get to kind of blaze through this. There's our boss monsters, Access Code Talker, Firewall Dragon, Neo Tempest Terahertz, and Firewall Dragon. Mainstays inside of the deck. There's then Malice Cryptid cards, Q Red Ransom, and 1 White Binder. I am afraid of cards like Cashier Unicorn, but I do have 9 monster negates, so I can use that 1 Cashier Unicorn to prevent them from ripping my extra deck. For the support cards, there's 1 Gita Golem Crystal Heart, 1 Transcode Talker, and 1 Splash Mage. These cards are actually incredibly cool. And then to help complement that, 1 Haggard Lizardos and 1 SP Little Knight. That rounds up our other Link monsters. Our Link ones are 1 copy of Decode Talker, a Link Decoder, my apologies, Link Kribo, and the Cyber's Desave Worm. Now look, a lot of people say that one of this deck's biggest nightmares is Nibiru the Primal Being. And ironically, I actually figured out how to beat Nibiru. As a Solomon Great connoisseur, you know I gotta play it. It would be Link Spider. The card allows you to get into G Golem Crystal Heart, which can summon back the Link Spider, which can get to Transcode Talker, which can get the Sussy Code even under Nibiru. It means that anytime your opponent nibs you, as long as you have 1 extra extender, you can OTK. But you can also get greedy and or play your Enigmaster Pack Bit, a monster that you can send to the graveyard with Terahertz. I'm gonna leave that up to you to decide. But now to show you that combo. All right, big dogs, I know you are liking the mat. It's looking really, really sexy. Again, it even has a double side. You get the Bakura Millennium Ring. Boy, isn't that just straight wow? But yeah, let me go ahead and show you guys the normal combo. I'm gonna kind of blast through it because there's like, it should be all over the internet right now, right? Your combo is a simple Malice P Dormouse or your Malice P White Rabbit. What you're gonna do is you're gonna summon your Dormouse, banish the White Rabbit then summons itself and allows you to be able to set a Malice trap card to your side of the field. Also, one thing that I do want to point out about this deck, any given time you are playing this Yu-Gi-Oh strategy, if you have a spell or trap card in your hand, set it first if you don't plan on using it. And the reason why you do this is because your opponent now thinks that your spell or trap card could be one of your Malice cards for you to be able to pop off with. I'm going to go ahead and set the TB11, and then I'm going to use both of these monsters for a Link summon into Haggard Lizardos. Now, I haven't banished my Malice P Dormouse yet. I'll use the Haggard Lizardos to change its attack by banishing the Dormouse, and since it was banished, it summons itself to the side of the field. I'll now use both of these monsters for a Link summon into our Malice Q Red Ransom. And what Red Ransom does is it allows us to be able to add from our decks to our hand a Malice in Underground. From here, you're going to activate your Malice TB11. You're going to banish your Malice Q Red Ransom as activation requirement to be able to summon out your last Malice monster in Cheshire Cat, and then trigger the effect of your Malice P Red Ransom to summon itself to the side of the field. And banish a monster from your deck. The monster of choice is going to be your Dotscaper, which also summons itself to the side of the field. Now, one thing that I do not know how to do correctly is place the Malice cards in the correct zone just yet, but I think I did a decent job. Use the Dotscaper and your Malice Chessy Cat for a Link summon. We're gonna go ahead and summon out our monster known as Splash Mage. Splash Mage will bring back the Chessy Cat. And ironically, if we're going second, if our opponent does nib us right here, we do still win because we have access to use Malice in Underground to banish the Chessy Cat and bring it back. And we do have the Link Spider combo, so they gotta chill out. We'll use the Splash Mage and the Chessy Cat to be able to summon out the Malice Q White Binder and then use her effect. We have to banish at least 2 cards with her effect. I'm gonna banish the TB11 and the Chessy Cat and trigger the Chessy Cat to summon herself back to the field. From here, you could use the effect of Chessy Cat to banish your Malice in Underground to be able to draw 2 cards. But what you want to do here is link off your Chessy Cat into your Link Decoder, and then link off your Malice Q White Binder and your Link Decoder into your Firewall Dragon right here. Link Decoder special summons itself back to the side of the field, and since your Firewall is co-linked, you can add any of your Malice monsters back from your graveyard to your hand. To be honest, I wish it was right here, and I think there's a way to do it. I just don't know how to just yet. This is a very, very basic combo, and it's all done with 1 card. Now here, I can use my Malice in Underground as a field spell to be able to banish my Q White Binder, which triggers its effect to summon herself to the side of the field, and then you get to draw a blank card to your hand. We are now going to use our Q White Binder to set our GW06 to our side of the field, and then we're going to use both our Red Ransom, our Link Decoder, and our White Binder for a Link summon into our Cryptic Hearts. trigger the effect of Firewall Dragon to summon out your pawn Dormouse to your side of the field, and link these monsters into your last card that you're going to be summoning, which is your Firewall Dragon Dark Fluid. Now, Dark Fluid can use this effect to be able to send Cyber's D-Save Worm, and you're probably wondering exactly what did that one card do? Well, it's actually incredibly simple with this deck. So in this particular situation, you have your Malice GWC06, which can special summon your White Binder to your side of the field. Hear me out, guys. White Binder can then use this effect to be able to banish 3 cards from the graveyard, and you can get rid of your opponent's cards, but you can also banish your Q-Red Ransom, your Malice Cryptic cards, and to be extra spicy, you can also even banish your P White Rabbit, which means that you will special summon all 3 of them back to your side of the field, and that could get real tricky for your opponent. Of course, we'll draw a card from our White Binder, we'll add another copy of Malice and Underground to our hand, and our Cryptic cards can return our TB11 to be able to banish a card on the field, which is crazy, but I'm not done. Malice P White Rabbit has its effect to be able to set a Malice trap card to your side of the field. We can set MTP07. MTP07 can banish the White Binder to be able to activate its effect, allowing you to be able to add from your deck to your hand any Malice monster. Dormouse is probably your key. But since we do control a Malice monster on the field, we can banish a card on the field and our White Binder would come back. And I'm still not done. Firewall Dark Fluid Dragon can send any Cyberse monster from the deck or extra deck to the graveyard. We already sent a D-Save Worm to be able to negate a spell or trap card, and you could send an Ignic Master Pack Bit if you so choose and play it. But what you also can send from your extra deck to the graveyard is the Code of Soul that I was originally talking about. Triggering its effect, you can link summon on your opponent's turn, and typically you can use 2 monsters like this to be able to summon out SP Little Knight to banish a card on the field. And then of course there's still the SP Little Knight destruction thing that it has going on. All of that is through 1 card. Now, one of the biggest counters to this deck is that if hypothetically you don't have any back row and your opponent negates your Malice P Dormouse. I talk about this in my meta counter guide that happened yesterday. Oftentimes you have to shotgun a hand trap to be able to end your opponent's turn. Well, this particular combo makes it almost non-existent. I'm going to say that my opponent does the correct thing and stops my Malice P Dormouse. I'm going to show you how to get right back into the game in full combo just with a Bestial monster. What you would do is you turn that into a Link Kribo, then activate your Bestial monster to banish your Malice monster in the graveyard, using its effect to summon itself to the side of the field. In this case, I'll declare the effect of Bestial Magnuma to be able to get another Bestial monster from my deck to my hand. From here, I'm going to use both my Link Kribo and my Malice V Dormouse, and I'm going to put my opponent on a check. They're going to need at least 2 hand traps to be able to stop this, because if they can't stop my Splash Mage, it's going to bring back out my Dormouse, and these 2 monsters will be used for another Link Summon. I'll Link Summon into Malice Q-Red Ransom. Let me just put it over here because I don't want it under a link. And then I'll add my Malice in Underground. Using my Malice in Underground, I will banish my White Rabbit, which summons herself to the side of the field. She'll then allow me to be able to set the TB11, which I am going to use on my Red Ransom to be able to summon out my Malice P Cheshire Cat. Red Ransom then summons herself to the side of the field and allows me to be able to banish that Dodscaper from my deck, which also summons itself to the side of the field. Now guys, I have a slight question. Does this look familiar? Because it's about to start getting really familiar. Cheshire Cat will turn itself into Link Decoder plus P White Rabbit, and the Bestial monster turns itself into Q White Binder. We also get to draw a random card. Link Decoder summons itself back to the side of the field. Q White Binder sets GW06, and then the Malice Q Red Ransom and the Dotscaper can be used for a link into that Firewall Dragon we've been looking for. Firewall Dragon adds a Malice monster from the graveyard to the hand in P White Rabbit. GW06 banishes the White Binder, summons out the Red Ransom, then special summons out the White Binder back to our side of the field, and now can banish 3 cards. This time around, I'm gonna pick GW06, Cheshire Cat, and the TB11. Now, I haven't used the Cheshire Cat or Firewall Dragon, but we're gonna bring out the Cheshire Cat right here. We'll then start to link down using these 3 monsters. I'll make the Malice Q White Binder, and then in this particular situation, I don't need to use Firewall Dragon's effect, so it's probably best to get the Dormouse instead of the White Rabbit, because, you know, you're going to summon this on the opponent's turn. Because now we can then link these cards down into our Firewall Dark Fluid. So now you kind of see how this deck still does the exact same thing, except a little better, because since I use my Bestial Magnemite, I also get a Bestial Baldrake in the hand, and this just so happens to be a Dark Monster. And then, like I said, instead of using GW06, the Baldrake can banish the White Binder. White Binder brings itself out, and then it banishes cards, and we start that cycle all over again. Thank you so much for watching, big dogs. I really hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, make sure to give this video a like and consider joining the Patreon for some test hands, or consider going to the website to buy some awesome merch. It was incredibly fun to show you that Malice is a top tier Yu-Gi-Oh deck. Of course, big dog, if you want to see more amazing videos, go ahead and check out these. But also, be sure to check out the Patreon if you want to see some test hands, or go to TheCaliEffect.com for merch. I hope you guys are having an amazing day, and I'll catch you on the next video.